Welcome to the Sports Arena, your front row ticket to the best in sports talk and entertainment. Great analysis, top name guests, and news you can use from the sports landscape. So take your seats, sit back, and relax, as you are now in the Sports Arena.
You know what you're capable of. Fix it.
And here's your host, Eric Wilson.
Wins. I'm like, all right, let's go. We get losses. I'm like, I need a minute. Let me collect myself.
What's going on, everybody? Your man, Eric Wilson, Sports Arena here on a Monday night. And we got a lot to get to and not a lot of time. So let me just go ahead and bring the fellas in here to get it started this evening. First and foremost, he is from Turning Point Podcast, telling both sides of the story. My man, Mr. Jake Rongholt. Jake, good evening, sir. How are you?
Hey, how's it going? I'm glad to be back here. And hey, I love that new promo. That was really well done, Eric.
Thank you. Shout out to my man, Michael Lyle, for hooking me up with that. We back at it. So next up, of course, is my man. This brother does it all. He truly does. Mr. Alex Fleming. He is the host of The Carousel. You can check it out every Thursday. Alex, good evening, sir. How are you?
Man, live and let die. I'm doing my damn thing. I want to thank you for being behind the scenes on that, too.
Hey, happy Earth, Wind, and Fire Day, my brother, for all the old heads who know what I'm talking about. And, Absolutely. Of course, last but not least, let me get him in here because I'm going to have to give him a lot of kudos to start the show. Believe in the Pac-12 podcast, dropping every Friday. Great material, Mr. Michael Caratanudo. Mike, good evening and congratulations, sir. Let me go ahead and start the show off by saying that to you, brother. And if I could hear you, it'd be a dangerous thing. Mike, where you at? Can't hear you.
Well, we're just talking
there he is. Wait, Mike? Nope. Okay. We'll get Mike back here in a second. He's going to figure that out. But, gentlemen, we got a lot to get into. But before we start the show this evening, I just want to get your thoughts on what you've seen so far between the Vegas Raiders and the New Orleans Saints, tied at 17 as we enter the third quarter. Jake?
Well, one thing is for sure, you could definitely throw on this. What you can definitely do right now is you could throw on this Saints defense. I mean, John Gruden has really ratcheted up those pass plays, and he's been able to get out the ball out to Zay Jones. Darren Waller is out there. This guy, Brian Edwards, I never even heard of, has 2 catches already. And I just can't wait to see when they actually start to put Josh Jacobs involved into this. But one thing's for sure, everybody keeps talking about how good this Saints defense is, but I can also see that secondary still has problems under defensive coordinator Dennis Allen.
Alex, what's your thoughts so far on the game?
I find it funny whenever you pay a running back how they perform. Alvin Kamara has 83 total scrimmage yards, 2 catches, 23 yards, 9 carries for 60 yards, plus the TD. He scored the first touchdown in that Death Star. I think it's the year of the running back because with all the injuries that we're about to get into that went down, I think we're going to have more RESPECT for the running back position.
Yeah.
And you can also see that the Saints desperately miss Michael Thomas because of the passes that have been thrown to Deontay Harris, Traquan Smith, and Emmanuel Sanders. They have dropped the passes across the middle, off the left sideline, passes that are usually going to be thrown to Michael Thomas, and that's why you're seeing the bulk of the carries given more to Alvin Kamara. But you can see that Michael Thomas's presence is definitely missing right now with this Saints offense.
Wow. Mike, you good, brother? You in there with us? What's going on, man?
I can hear you.
Okay, we can hear you. You're good, brother. Yep, we got you. We got you.
Okay. All right.
So, gentlemen, let's jump right into it this evening. My first question to you that I want to ask you tonight here on the Sports Arena is Sunday Night Football. We saw Cam Newton and the New England Patriots going up against Russell Wilson and the Seattle Seahawks. Mike, let me ask you to start the conversation. How do you look at that game last night? And more importantly, who do you think had the better performance? We know what the ending score was.
Yeah, I mean, not to sound weak, guys, but I really think it was, a tie. I guess I'd give a slight edge to Russell Wilson because, those passes were sick. But, I give you credit, too, because you were the first one when we said back when free agents, when he wasn't signed, people didn't know his health, but how New England would be such a great fit for him. And, man, it couldn't have gone better the last 2 weeks. I mean, yes, a win would have been great, but those receivers, I think somebody made a great point today. I think it was Ryan Clark made a great point today. Not that Tom Brady's not great, but what Cam Newton can do for those young receivers, like they're just going to keep growing and growing and getting better outside of obviously Julian Edelman's established. But man, it was a phenomenal game. And as much as I was shocked that Belichick didn't go play action on the last play, that worked beautifully earlier. Cam keeps playing like this, and they're not just going to be talking about Wilson and Rodgers and Jackson for the MVP because Cam's going to be right there. He looks phenomenal. He looks healthy for the first time in a long time, guys, and he just looked phenomenal. So I love how they're using him. I love the way they played. It's exciting to see.
And Alex, let me go to you and ask you this. When you look at both of these defenses, New England had the number one defense last season, but it appeared as though they still haven't got their feet underneath them, not having OTAs and preseason. What's your thoughts on the defensive side of the ball?
See, you want me to talk about the defense and not the quarterbacks. Let me be honest then. New England defense looks stout considering that they had 6 people missing on the defensive side and 5 on the offensive side. Gilmore got burnt quite a few times, but that's because DK Metcalf is a 6'4", 230-pound freak. So I'm going to let Gilmore off the edge for this one. They were on their toes all night. Russell was dropping dimes. What can you say? Now, Seattle, they looked a little leaky. They were weak against the run game. They were good against the pass, but not against Julian Edelman. 8 catches for 179 yards. That corner got abused. New England had the better defense, even though they lost the game, if that makes any sense to anybody. Seattle was more ferocious because they knew they had to stop Cam. He brought a different element. Russell was leading in rushing yards at the half. Cam changed that. And to answer your question, Russell looked better than Cam, but Cam damn sure looked good for someone who had a bad knee and a bad shoulder. Tepper's got some explaining to do.
Hey, Jake, let me go to you really quick with this one, because when Alex was talking about that, it kind of brought something up to me. When you look at these two coaches in Bill Belichick and Pete Carroll, it seems as though there's always going to be this universal chess match, East Coast, West Coast, Belichick, Pete Carroll. And we can go back and talk about the games and the Super Bowls that have happened where these two gentlemen have faced each other. At the end of the day, who was the better coach last night?
It was Bill Belichick, and I mean, bar none. I mean, when you're Pete Carroll and you have offensive coordinator Brian Schottenheimer say on 3rd and 1, I want you to throw it deep. I want you to finish off the job, even though the Patriots already knew what exactly was coming towards them. And I mean, I give credit to Pete Carroll. You got the win. Good for that. But they should not have been in that situation. And because of that 3rd and 1, you gave Cam Newton that extra opportunity to try and get into the end zone. Now, I do give credit to Ken Norton, the defensive coordinator for the Seahawks. They knew that Cam was going to get that ball when they were at the goal line. So that was good, though. But I mean, Belichick outcoached Pete Carroll all night, because the thing is, they didn't need Cam Newton just to, finish the job. It's always going to be Russell Wilson or bust with the Seattle Seahawks. With this, you can see the differences with the Patriots, because not only do they don't tell Cam Newton, get in there and win this game. They want Cam Newton to be healthy. They want him to spread the ball around and be able to open up this offense. And he did. You're talking about a guy who went 30 for 44, 397 yards, a touchdown and interception. But he also had to help out the running game, which only had 20 yards for 14 rushes. Cam Newton had 47 yards in 2 touchdowns. He also woke up some guy named Demir Bird. I never even heard of this kid. And N'Keal Harry, thank you for coming to the NFL. We welcome you with open praise. 14 receptions and 144 yards. Josh McDaniels has been able to create this new way of Cam Newton to spread the ball around, something that he did not have under 3 offensive coordinators in Carolina. Great job by Bill Belichick. Josh McDaniels, I know they lost last night, but they were the better team on the field.
All right, let's keep it going here, gentlemen. We're going to leave it there. And just as an update, Oakland has scored and has taken the lead for the first time this game, 24-17 over the New Orleans Saints in the Death Star, the new stadium out there in Vegas, which, Mike, you are 4 hours away, so you got to find a way to sneak your happy self in there, brother. We need pictures, by the way. So speaking of you, Mr. Caratanudo, as I said to start the show, congratulations. Your Dallas Cowboys, I will say, a lucky victory. That's what I'm going to call it as. I think this is more Atlanta's fault than it is Dallas's win, because Dallas seemed to have themselves just not representing on their opening, home stadium, Jerry World. But somehow, some way, they found a way to get it done. So congrats to you, sir. Tell me how you were feeling today, knowing that your Dallas Cowboys are 1-1 and squeaked out a victory.
Well, here's the thing. Yes, okay, it was ridiculous, and I told you yesterday they had no business winning the game the way it started. But the biggest difference, now that the clapper, Jason Garrett, is gone, is every time they scored, yes, the Falcons would answer. But they didn't quit. Like 20-0 in the first, if Jason Garrett was there, I'm convinced it would have been 35-0 at half, easily. 34-0, whatever, at half. Or, maybe 34-7. But, yeah, the onside kick was a gift, like I told you yesterday. You know what? I will say Zeke is looking better. That offensive line, being in shambles is one of those things. And, I'm with as much as I can't stand him always just trashing the Cowboys, but Stephen A. Smith is right. There's 6 Falcons around, and you have got to be absolutely stupid at the pro level to have to be reminded that's a live ball. Jake, you're laughing. Alex, you're shaking your head too.
Right.
You're a NFL player. I understand there's like when people say, oh, injuries in depth, that's one thing. I know we'll get to that later. But none of the Cowboys hit those guys, which you can hit them. And the rules changed. I know you can't overload, but you can still go down and crush a guy if he's right there. They don't hit. The Falcons are dancing around the ball. It was like a little like Red Rover game. And then all of a sudden the Cowboys are like, let's jump on it. Like that was the most ridiculous thing I've seen. So yes, I will take the win going 1-1. We all know the Falcons are great for giving up leads, but now it's what 450 or 440
and one.
Right. Yeah. So it's crazy. But yeah, look, the offensive line was makeshift. If Collins comes back this week, and well, they're gonna need it because if they go to Seattle like that, that game will be over at halftime. If they go to Seattle like that.
Please,
Mike,
yeah.
All right, let me speak on this. If it wasn't for Greg Olson's drop, Russell Wilson wouldn't have an interception. Russell's been dangerous week 1 and week 2, and he's trying to get that MVP poll because Mahomes and El Freaky stole it from him. He's been on fire, and he's going to light up that piss poor Dallas Cowboys secondary or whatever is left of it. The man was amazing. 288 yards and 5 touchdowns. Why can't this brother get some praise? Is there a West Coast bias? Oh, and by the way, they play in the best division in football, the NFC West. Rams are 2-0. The Cardinals are 2-0. And Seattle is 2-0. San Francisco's been plagued with injuries, but let's not get it twisted. I don't want to hear anything about the Dallas Cowboys losing this Sunday because they're not the better team. They weren't the better team on Sunday, and they're going to see how a real team is going to treat them and put them away this Sunday.
Well, but the thing with that, too, is when you look at the Cowboys, yeah, if they play like that in the first half, but if they run the ball, Zeke can run the ball as effective as Cam did against that defense. So that being said, plus what? Who went out with somebody from Seattle tore their ACL? He's done for the year, too, on defense. It's not Wagner, not Irving. Last night it happened late in the game. But
Bruce
either way.
Irvin.
Bruce Irvin.
Thank you. Yes,
Bruce Irvin,
yeah. So, if the Cowboys have to run the ball and not fumble it, believe me, it's going up to Seattle. It's not like when they went up there a few years back with DeMarco Murray and had a healthy offensive line and shoved it down the Seahawks' throat. They want to do that this Sunday, but if they don't do that and run the ball, and if Collins and Smith don't come back, or at least one of them doesn't come back, it is going to be very ugly. But look, the way Dak's playing with the receivers, CeeDee Lamb proved that he can do a little bit more. I think Mike McCarthy, here's my frustration, Alex. Mike McCarthy came in to revamp the offense. Now, they didn't quit for him yesterday, which was good to see. That was encouraging. But I understand you want Dak to be comfortable. Again, NFL quarterback. But I don't understand why you don't install with Kellen Moore a little bit more of the West Coast offense.
Okay, hold that thought because I want to go to Jake. I want to go to Jake on this one because you brought up Mike McCarthy, and that's exactly where I was going. So, Jake, this is a head coach that you know very well. Can you talk about the similarities that have existed between his first 2 weeks in Dallas versus his time in Green Bay?
Well, once again, he's not calling the plays. He's having another guy calling the plays with Kellen Moore. I mean, this is the same thing he did with Tom Clements in Green Bay. Mike McCarthy is known as an offensive guru. He was taught underneath some of the best people in the business, and you're trying to tell me that you can't call out your own damn plays? What happened at this point when you were down 20-0? 29-10 to the Atlanta Falcons? How did this come to this point where you were like, okay, you get into that locker room and say, all right, guys, don't quit. You have so much weaponry around you, McCarthy. You have a running game, actually, and you have a first-round draft pick in CeeDee Lamb. You have Amari Cooper, $100 million man, Ezekiel Elliott running the rock, and you're trying to tell me you had to come back not once but twice against the Atlanta Falcons? I'm glad to see they got the win. They needed this win because they're going on the road next week to take on the Seattle Seahawks and Russell Wilson, who has 9 touchdowns in the last 2 games already. And not to mention 3 fumbles alone in the first quarter. And you're 24th against the pass. And let me talk about this pass defense once again. Doggone it, Dallas. How do you not go and shop for corners and safeties? Because you are clearly showing once again that you're dependent on this front 7. Oh, wait, Leighton Vander Esch out, Sean Lee out. And then you're not getting the pass rush you need from Everson Griffin or DeMarcus Lawrence. Dontari Poe has been all over the place and not making any stops. And then you could see Gerard McCoy's loss is also big for them. The Dallas Cowboys do not look like a juggernaut. And if they want to be a Super Bowl contender, they need to fix this defense, because I'm telling you right now, you can't score 40 points in the National Football League every single week and win games. It's not possible. Dallas right now looks like a 9-7, 10-6 team. You need to show more than this.
Let me piggyback off of that, Jake. Let me take that and let me retort. Not only is Seattle going to beat them, but they're the best team in the NFC East right now. Let's be completely honest. Giants are done. Let's throw out that trash.
They are the best team, yeah.
Philadelphia has an offensive line, quarterback, safety, and corner problem, okay? Washington needs to fix their offensive line, and they'll be just fine. And the way they're talking about Haskins is just so deplorable and disgusting. But if they gave the man an offensive line, I think they could be potent. Antonio Gibson's starting to figure things out, and McLaurin is a star, regardless who's throwing him the football.
No
then
doubt.
You got the Dallas Cowboys, who out of all of the teams have the best offensive line. The defense is meh. But if you looked at the NFC East, meh will at least win the division. And out of all the quarterbacks available, Mr. Hospital, Dwayne Haskins, and Danny Dimes sometimes, Dak is the best choice. So if they can go 9 or 7, 10-6, they can easily win the division. They're going to take their lumps early because the schedule gets easier later on down the road.
But I will say this.
I was going to say that, Alex, but Jake, real quick, the corner they got out of Alabama, his coverage, he blew one, but besides that, he's been all over the place. Oh, yeah, Diggs looks good. Awuzie looks better, yes, but they need safety. It's in safety help. I agree 100% with you there. Diggs is a young corner. We'll see what happens, but he is not getting beat disgustingly. Didn't get beat a lot against the Rams. Didn't give up huge plays on his side. So again, if they're not going to go after a safety, you're right. It is in a safety position for them, but they need to get pressure. We talked about this before the season started. If they don't get that pressure, it's a different story. Byron Jones is gone. Yeah, Diggs is there, but again, I'd rather have Byron Jones sitting back at safety because he played both than let him walk. But you can't pay everybody, so that's why.
Exactly. And I think that's what it comes down to is you have to be able to work with the construction and the budget that you have. Now, can Dallas find a way to move and shake and bring in necessary pieces to, pick up for guys like Vander Esch that are gone? And we don't even know the status of Yalwin yet. So, I mean, that's another conversation that we could go down the road. Jake, I'm going to give you the final word, and then we're going to go to a quick break and then come back with more. So go ahead.
I'm just shocked that out of DeMarcus Lawrence and Everson Griffin, 2 top-tier pass rushers, there was only 1 sack done yesterday by the Dallas Cowboys. That's inexcusable. You're talking about guys who average 8 to 12 sacks a year. and you're trying to tell me you can't get any pass rush against the Atlanta Falcons that have Dan Quinn as their coach still? You got to be kidding me with that. Great win for the Dallas Cowboys. Glad to see they got that comeback, but the Seattle Seahawks are a completely different beast.
All right, guys, we're going to take a real quick break. Come back more with the Sports Arena back in a moment.
For over 100 years, the story has been written, ever-changing and growing with each new chapter. The soul remains, though the characters change. Bigger, faster, stronger, smarter.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide.
So too grows our fandom. Start miles ahead. The 2020 Prospect Encyclopedia. September. Available on Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com, and Blitzalytics.com.
Welcome back to the Sports Arena. Yeah, if you guys don't have that Blitzalytics Encyclopedia 2020, you guys are truly missing out, man. A big shout out to Rob, to Jack, Cody, Preacher Boy Roy, and the rest of the crew for putting that together. Here with Alex Fleming, Mike Caratenuto, and of course my man Jake Rongholt. So, gentlemen, you had your time to discuss Dallas. As the only Eagles fan on here, I get my 2 minutes to just tell you how I feel about my team because, as I said, when things go down, I'm always the first to react. I'll give you all the floor, but let me get this out the way. So it's been 2 weeks now. My team is 0-2. Hasn't been 0-2 in the last 5 years. Last time we were 0-2, it was under Chip Kelly. We all know how that went down. Let me just say this. As Alex said, the offensive line, the quarterbacks, the wide receivers, and that safeties, yeah, they need to figure it out and get it the bleep together because this is ridiculous. We're going up against Seattle next week, and then we're going to be playing an injured, hopefully still ridden San Francisco. If we don't go 2-2, if we don't win these next 2 games, I'll be the first one to sit here and tell you my season just might be the hell over. I don't care how bad our division is. We can't start 0-4 in a division that is this weak with the anticipation of actually making it to the postseason. So, Philly, you got one simple job. Figure it the hell out. Gentlemen, I'll go to you. And Mike, since you are the Cowboys fan, I'll let you go first.
Look, man, I'm not surprised the Rams beat them, and not just because the Rams beat the Cowboys. It seems like the Rams were an afterthought in the NFC West this year with the emergence of Kyler Murray last year, rightfully so. Obviously, Russell Wilson, the Niners going to the Super Bowl. It was like, oh, the Rams are a year removed from a Super Bowl. And, yeah, they had their share of injuries last year. Todd Gurley wasn't the same. But Sean McVay didn't forget how to coach. That being said, I thought that the Eagles, especially after the letdown against the Redskins, would come out.
The
Washington football team.
That's 15 push-ups.
I'm already up to 125. So I've done 120. I'm not kidding you. I've done 125 push-ups, but I'll be at 140 after this. But yeah, after they failed against Washington and they came back, I was really shocked about that. But look, Carson Wentz to me, I think has it figured out. I just think the offensive line, the no preseason, and I've harped on this a million times to you guys. I've never tried to make a football team. For all these people that say get rid of preseason, this is what you get. Maybe not the amount of interceptions I thought we would get, but the Eagles at the time have been very ugly from a team and look, I'm not picking on you. I didn't expect.
No, I get it. I get it.
I expected them to be at least offensively ahead of Dallas because Peterson being there, Carson Wentz being back. I expected them to be ahead of Dallas, and with no preseason, I really expected the offenses to be ahead of the defenses anyway. So I'm sick. This is what you get with no preseason. Yes, some games and teams have looked good, but it has been sloppy. It has been a train wreck injury-wise, which, again, injuries will happen. I don't think at this clip if you have preseason. But that being said, for the Eagles, it's to me, the offense I believe will come around. I'd be very shocked if it didn't, to your point of figuring it out. But defensively, again, the Rams pose a lot of issues, but you can't let a tight end, and not that Higbee's not a very good tight end, trash you like that. So
exactly.
I just think defensively is where they're going to struggle, and I think that's the Cowboys' struggles too. But like Jake said, they're not going to put up 40 every game, and you're going to come across somebody that's really going to punch you in the mouth.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. When you have top tight ends on one side and Tyler Higbee on the other, and Tyler Higbee outshines Ertz and Goddard, there's a problem. Alex, go ahead, get in there.
Okay, thank you. For the love of God, what are you smoking? Let me bring some news to this. Offensive line is trash for the Philadelphia Eagles. Carson Wentz was getting booed from the virtual fans.
That's a Philly
talk.
thing. Hold on. Time out.
He was
that
getting
happens,
booed
Alex,
from the virtual fans.
It doesn't matter. That happens regardless.
Constantly from rookie and young running backs. Excuse me, sir. You had your 2 minutes. The linebackers were getting beat from the rookie running back and Malcolm Brown all day. Could somebody cover Higbee? He had 54 yards for 3 touchdowns. That's embarrassing. When you know damn well, as in your words, all we have to do is cover Cooper Kupp. All we have to do is cover Cooper Kupp. Wrong. Your secondary is still trash. Better than the Atlanta Falcons, but trash. You're missing Barnett. Where's Hargroves? Is he playing still? And where's your boy Fletcher Cox? You guys had 2 sacks on that Los Angeles Rams all day. The whole team needs a U-Haul. You know what? Wentz hurts. Yes, he does. Maybe it's time to play Jalen Hurts. Because if you fall to 0-3, you can kiss chances of winning the division goodbye.
Ain't that what I just said? Go ahead.
I said 0-3. You said 0-4.
Fine. Go ahead, Jake.
Well, that's why you take a guy like Jalen Hurts second round. Steal of a pick. Kind of a steal of a pick there for Jalen Hurts, I would have to say. But look, the Eagles have a lot of problems. And first off, you start with that offensive line. You lose your Pro Bowl guard, Brandon Brooks, for the rest of the year. You lose Andre Dillard, your left tackle. He was your projected left tackle for the year, gone. And then you have Isaac Sumalo, who is now going to miss time as the left guard. So now that's a problem. You let your depth of your offensive line go to the Detroit Lions of all things, and then you tell Jason Peters, hey, could you come play left tackle for us? We'll give you 1 year, $8 million. How's that been going? Jason Peters has been turning into Eric Flowers in front of us. This is a Pro Bowl left tackle, and suddenly he's starting to look like Eric Flowers. What in the world is going on here? Why did Howie Roseman decide to decimate his offensive line over the offseason? That's such a problem there. Number 2, Jalen Reagor, he's done enough, I guess. But then you bring an old man Deshaun Jackson as your wide receiver. Zach Ertz, who's in the middle of a contract dispute. Dallas Goedert, where did you go? You had 101 yards in your first game. This time you had 30 yards. And then Arcega-Whiteside. JJ, buddy, could you catch a damn football already? You look like Orlando Franklin from The Replacements. Do you need some stickum there, buddy, to make a catch? I mean, you got to be kidding me with this. You have Carson Wentz, $125 million man, and you're trying to tell me you can't beat the LA Rams. Give me a break. The LA Rams, who had over 207 rushing yards with Cam Akers and Malcolm Brown. Give me a break.
Jake, time out. Did the Rams lose Aaron Donald? Because I know
they didn't. They have a good defense.
Zach Martin is an all-pro, and we saw last week he literally picked Zach Martin up and move him. Aaron Donald will make every single offensive lineman look stupid. Hands down, don't care about the offensive lineman. Don't care about the team. Aaron Donald will dominate every single person he comes across. That's how he's wired. I'm not making an excuse for Eric, and I'm not making an excuse for the Cowboys. He picked Zeke up like Zeke weighed 50 pounds and threw him down. So Aaron Donald.
We're not talking about Dallas. We're talking about the incapability of the Philadelphia Eagles to do anything on offense.
Offensive line, right? But I'm saying, and it was incapable. But Aaron Donald had another huge game yesterday. He has huge games all the time. There's been no offensive lineman since he's pretty much his second year on that's ever shut him down. And I've watched a ton of Rams games, obviously, being out west. So
all right. I gave you guys
Eagles
your
are terrible, but
I gave you guys your opportunity to bash my team. We are moving on past it. I'm glad you all got your thing. And Jake, this is why you're invited to all the cookouts. Because when you said Curtis Franklin, I lost it. I almost got up and left, but I couldn't because I was like
Clifford Franklin, yeah.
Clifford Franklin, excuse me.
Orlando Jones, yeah. That was my fault.
All right. So we've been talking about injuries this whole time. So let's get to these injuries because there have been some major injuries this season. We saw that Saquon's done for the rest of the year. George Kittle's out for an extended period of time. Jimmy G's is out for some time. You've also got Joey Bosa and Solomon.
It's Nick Bosa.
Sorry, Nick. Thank you. Nick Bosa.
Left ankle, I believe it's torn MCL. He's gone. Solomon Thomas also gone. Raheem Mostert would miss about 6 to 8 games. Start Jerick McKinnon because Tevin Coleman got hurt too. 7 49ers were hurt on that MetLife grass, if you want to call it that. Anthony Bard, linebacker, Minnesota, gone. Malik Hooker, torn ACL, gone. Paris Campbell, hurt shoulder and leg. He'll be gone for about 6 weeks. Cortland Sutton, knee, gone. Drew Lock, 2 to 4 weeks. He's going to be missing from that Denver Broncos that were trying to get reignited. That's gone. Oh, and everybody's favorite, Run CMC, Christian McCaffrey. He's going to be gone for about 4 to 6 weeks. Injuries. This is why we have preseason.
That's exactly where I was going with that, right to what Mike's point was. This is why we have preseason, because we are allowed to get these guys healthy. So pretty much, I'm sure people's fantasies have been blowing up all day. The fact that Michael Thomas isn't playing tonight, I'm sure set a lot of people off. But gentlemen, moving forward, what is the correct amount of preseason games? Should we go back to 4? Should there only be 3? What do you guys think? Jake, I'll go to you.
There should be 2, just 2, because that's what the NFL Players Association will agree to. But you have to find a compromise with this. You're in such harmony trying to bring back the NFL season, but you don't have fans. You're in such harmony to get this CA passed before this pandemic with the collective bargaining agreement. Well, part of that should be playing only 2 preseason games. And not to mention, your rosters went from 90 to 80 this year. Why did you decide to do that? So instead of that, now you lost out on talent on the practice squad that you could have taken a chance on by going from 90 to 80. That's 10 players there that did not get their chance to prove themselves, to be able to help out depth charts, and now starting to see this problem with the 49ers. This is unbelievable. It's like a body bag game right now between the Washington football team and the Philadelphia Eagles back in the early 90s. This is sad to say. I mean, Nick Bosa coming off a 9-sack performance in his rookie year. Solomon Thomas gone. Hi, guys. You guys missing DeForest Buckner now? I would have to say so. But now Javon Kinlaw is now going to have that opportunity, that first-round draft pick. But this is exactly what happens. Injuries happen in the NFL. It's not World War II. It's not it's not new. It is something that happens every single year. You got to be prepared for it. So when you make these big-time blockbuster moves, you better be aware of your depth chart for the year. If you don't, you're going to end up like the Niners. But at least they have the depth to be able to still be a contender.
Go ahead, Alex.
Hey, fantasy football leagues after the waiver wire this week is going to look like a desert.
You're absolutely right about that.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, we're going to take another break, but I want you to think about this question because when we come back, I'm going to ask each of you. I'm going to get each one of you 90 seconds, basically, to speak on this one. Who right now do you think is a better quarterback, Aaron Rodgers or Josh Allen? Marinate on that one. When we come back, we'll get our answer. Hey, Alex, Mike, Jake, your man, Eric, Sports Arena. Back in a moment, everybody.
carousel. This the carousel. On or you off. Either you're on or you're off. Either you're on or you're off. Knock 'em out. Carousel. 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 This the carousel. On or you're off. Either you're on or you're off. Either you're on or you're off. Knock 'em out.
Shameless plug for our Thursday show, The Carousel. Make sure you check it out. And as the song says, either you on or you're off. Let me get the brothers back in here. Michael Caratanudo, Believe in the Pac-12 podcast. Make sure you check him out every Friday. My man, Jake Wronghold, Turning Point podcast. Just Man drops knowledge each and every day. And of course, my brother, shaking and dodging and moving and bobbing and weaving, Mr. Alex Fleming, the host of The Carousel, back here on the Sports Arena with your man, Eric Wilson. Gentlemen, all right, you've had time to marinate this. I'm going to put you guys on the clock, by the way, so please be prepared. We're going to treat this like we treat the carousel. You each get 90 seconds. When you see my little 10-second thing or 30-second thing come up, that means wrap it up, guys. Mike, I'm going to start with you. In your opinion, right now, who is the better quarterback and why? I want to know. Is it Aaron Rodgers or Josh Allen?
Well, look, Josh Allen has had 2 solid games. Aaron Rodgers he's been Aaron Rodgers. Right now, I go with Aaron Rodgers, and I say it's close because Josh Allen probably has the biggest arm. His accuracy from when he got in the league is so much better. But, the throws Aaron made last week against Minnesota, week 1, again, talked about no preseason, but just looks sick. And he's on a mission, whether, I know we were shocked they took Jordan Love in the first round, but Jordan Love looks like he's going to be sitting for 3 more years because Aaron Rodgers is just on a tear. What can you say? He makes every throw. He doesn't have to be in the pocket. He's never out of a game. And I'm not saying that Josh Allen is, and Josh Allen can get to that point, but right now it's slim, and I take Aaron Rodgers. He makes his weapons better, and you have a running game now. He's had at least a steady running back the last few seasons with Aaron Jones. So, yeah, what he can do, I go with Aaron Rodgers, but Mr. Allen is not far behind.
All right. Jake, you're next up, my brother. 90 seconds. Who's the better quarterback, Josh Allen, Aaron Rodgers, sir? Your time starts now.
It's a no-brainer. It's always going to be Aaron Rodgers, and no, not because I'm a Packers fan, because he already has to prove it. He's a 2-time MVP. He's a Super Bowl champion. He took the 6th seed agreement Packers in 2010 and led them to one of the greatest Super Bowl, runs of all time. Nobody saw that coming. Not to mention, every time that guy goes out there, he just makes everybody better. Look what Alan Lazard was. He was nothing in Jacksonville. He comes over to Green Bay, and now he's averaging 4 to 5 receptions per game. Not to mention he comes off a great performance last week, another good performance this week. He's also becoming a blocking tight end just because Rodgers decided to recommend it. And also, I love how everybody says, Matt LaFleur and Aaron Rodgers are kind of at each other's necks right now. I think they're working in pretty good harmony right now, especially when they have a running back like Aaron Jones, who had 16 rushing touchdowns last year and this time around. Not to mention, even though he only had 66 yards in the first game, yesterday against the Detroit Lions, he had over 166 yards rushing. It came to that point where Aaron Rodgers could basically sit back, have a nice Kahlua and rum, and sit back on the side and just watch Aaron Jones do his thing. But Josh Allen, I understand, 2 great games, 4 touchdowns yesterday against the Miami Dolphins, but you played the Jets and the Dolphins, and your running game is still a mess with Devin Singletary and Zach Moss. Which guy's going to get the ball? I got to know. Green Bay has something. Buffalo is starting to get something. Calm down with Josh Allen.
Okay. All right. Fair enough. Mr. Fleming, I'm going to give you 90 seconds. Sir, your time starts now.
The question wasn't overall. The question was right now. And right now, I'm going to pick Aaron Rodgers. I'm sorry. All right. Let me be completely honest. I'm loving Josh Allen's game. I'm loving what he's doing, but he has an ineptitude to be completely accurate at all times. He's making about 60% of his throws. That's an increase from last year. He hasn't thrown an interception. That's an increase from last year. And he's getting things done with his legs. He had 417 yards just Sunday. He's been amazing, but he is not that bad man who doesn't run on the field anymore. He walks on the field because everybody know they got respect for that dude. It don't matter whether San Fran, Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, Seattle, New England, Baltimore, or Pittsburgh, everybody knows that he's that dude. That team doesn't function without Aaron Rodgers. That team doesn't have 5 wins without Aaron Rodgers. He's only got 2 weapons, Aaron Jones and Mr. Adams. For some odd reason, people can't seem to cover him. Oh, and year after year after year, unless this man is injured, he puts in work. Can you tell me the last time Aaron Rodgers didn't have at least 4,000 yards passing? Oh, the year that he was injured because Anthony Barr took him out. Look, until Josh Allen develops a game where he has consistent 4,000 yards passing, consistent 25 yards touchdown passes, and a good running game to suffice, this is Aaron Rodgers.
All right, I had to ask the question. Ladies and gentlemen, what you got was a taste of 3 of the greatest doing what we do every Thursday on the carousel. So apparently these gentlemen are on here tonight. Gentlemen, one last topic I do want to discuss with you. And just as an update, I want to go to the comments really quick because our man, Mr. Mike Pompa, he chimed in letting us know Josh Jacobs just came off the field limping. He said, not bad. He should be okay. And we have a couple people here just chiming in. We got our girl Megan Price saying Rodgers is better, but it's experience that makes him better. Allen will be there eventually. And apparently the Raiders just had a fumble from what I'm gathering here. So thank you, everybody, for the comments. Keep them chiming in. I see that Drew Brees and the Saints the offense is on the field right now. So let's see what happens there. My last question, staying in the realm of quarterbacks. Tyrod Taylor had to go to the hospital because he had chest pains from, I guess, a previous rib injury. Could not play on Sunday against the Super Bowl champion Kansas City Chiefs. So the number 6 draft pick, first round, Justin Herbert, came in and made his NFL debut in week 2. Alex, I need your thoughts on what you saw with Justin Herbert yesterday as an NFL starting quarterback against the Super Bowl champs.
Okay, I remember seeing him throw at the combine, and he had bad out route reads, and he had bad connections throwing opposite shoulder, opposite side of the field. He looked a hell of a lot better on Sunday. Look, Tyrod Taylor's been a placeholder and a manager for quite some time. Justin Herbert was giving the Kansas City Chiefs the business. Now, let's not act like Kansas City Chiefs have some all-star defense because they damn sure don't. But for a guy that came off the bench, he did something only 2 other quarterbacks in NFL history did on Sunday. He had 300 yards passing, and he had a rushing touchdown. I haven't seen that since, Cam Newton, Arizona, 2011. Think about that. He managed that offense. Keenan Allen was happy to see Justin Herbert because he wasn't getting any work with Tyrod Taylor. He's been a godsend to Keenan Allen and fantasy owners there. Eckler looked like Eckler before because the week before he only scored 9 points in fantasy because he couldn't run the football and was catching out routes with only 3 or 4 yards deep. Herbert is the choice. Herbert is the right quarterback. I'm not all this, brother man. No, Herbert is the better choice for the Los Angeles Chargers. Tyrod needs to sit on the bench. Herbert needs to keep the starting job.
All right, Mike, let me go to you because Anthony Lynn, the head coach, has said, in fact, that when Tyrod is able to play, he is going to come back and play. Now, let's say, hypothetical situation here. Let's say Tyrod's out 3 weeks. And in them 3 weeks, Herbert puts up a 2-1 or possibly a 3-0 performance. Do you stick with the hot hand or do you stick with your word? I'm asking you, Mike.
Well, I think fans will want to stick with the hot hand, but I think Coach Lynn will stick with his word. And Herbert did have some things to work on. But look, if he would have came out last year, he probably would have been he would have been taken about the same part of the draft, maybe the number 1 pick. He wanted to win a national title, had a good shot at Oregon until that got ruined late in the season. He wanted to play with his brother, but the dude is athletic. Every time I saw him, yes, there are throws he didn't have to make in college or he didn't throw a lot of because his receivers were wide open. But at the same time, he can run. We saw he's physical. If you're Anthony Lynn, how do you go away from a hot hand? I get that. I always, it always cracked me up when people said, "Oh, you can't lose your job to injury." Well, if you're winning and I get hurt, if you guys are winning, well, why should I get to come back in because you've been winning? So if they do go 3-0, it would be very hard to do. Herbert, to Alex's point, it's not a surprise. He looked poised. I was watching that game. He looked poised, delivered some hits. Again, you don't want to see your quarterback initiating hits like that. I know Josh Allen had a run like that yesterday too. But for Herbert, look, the talent has been there. I know the accuracy that people always were nitpicking apart since he went back to school. But man, if you're Anthony Lynn and you go 3-0, Eric, again, I'm about keeping your word. But how do you pull a guy that's 3-0?
All right, Jake, let me ask you, because I said 3 games. Their next 3 games are against the Carolina Panthers. We got Teddy Bridgewater. Then they're coming here to Tampa Bay to face Tom Brady and the Bucks. And then they got to face Drew Brees, who's playing right now, and the New Orleans Saints. I know it's a tall task, but looking at those next 3 games, sometimes it's better to be lucky than good. If Herbert, let's say Herbert even pulls out 2-1, what do you do?
If Herbert goes,
what do you do?
Hold
What
on,
do you mean, what do you do?
I'm asking Jake, not you. I'm asking
if
Jake.
Herbert
I will
goes
mute you.
2-1, he is the starting quarterback of the Los Angeles Chargers. You got to understand, a coach's word is meaningless sometimes when it comes to selecting a quarterback. Look, Tyrod Taylor was a veteran presence. They needed somebody, and they wanted to keep that pressure off him. But the way Justin Herbert, think about what happened here. Justin Herbert was warming up as a backup yesterday, and then out of the blue, Tyrod Taylor's chest starts hurting, and they say, okay, Herbert, you're in. And Herbert comes out and performs wonderfully. He only made one big rookie mistake, which was he should have got that first down instead of throwing it across his body and having the ball being picked off. That was his only mistake. He outplayed the Chiefs, outplayed Patrick Mahomes, and I thought he did an excellent job with that. But if you have the guy, I'm going to take you back to the Rose Bowl. I'm going to take you back to the Rose Bowl where he completed 72% of his passes, where the Wisconsin Badgers had a big lead on this, and he was able to score not 1, not 2, but 3 touchdowns to be able to get the Oregon Ducks to beat the Wisconsin Badgers in the Rose Bowl. That right there, to me, led to a guy who has poise, good completion percentage, good leadership skills, and a pro-ready arm. The guy's 239 pounds, and the guy decided, you know what? I'm going to go for a run. And if he decides to, watch me. I'm going to show you how well I can perform. Because the one thing that I really love about Justin Herbert the most is that he doesn't tell people he's good. He lets his play on the field do the talking. If he goes 2-1, that coach speak is meaningless, and Herbert will be the starting quarterback of the Los Angeles Chargers going forward.
All right, fair enough. I had to ask his performance. And Alex, I'm gonna mute you. Keep trying me. You're gonna get muted one of these times. I'm letting you know. Gentlemen, I really appreciate your time tonight. This game is going to be, I think, down to the wire. Right now, the Raiders are still up 24-17, so let's see what happens. But again, Mr. Michael Caratanudo, Believe in the Pac-12 podcast. I'm sure you got a new episode dropping on Friday. I'm excited to see that, my brother. Thank you so much for being a part of the show tonight. Jake Rongholt, Turning Point Podcast, telling both sides of the story. Can't wait to see the next article you drop. As always, it is a pleasure, my brother. I will talk to you soon. Yes, sir. And, of course, my brother, Mr. Alex Fleming. Shout out to him for Florida Sun Review, the oldest black newspaper in Florida. Make sure you check out his articles because they are the truth. And, of course, the host, the man who has brought it to fruition, the carousel. Either you're on or you're off. Your man, Eric Wilson, Sports Arena. Everyone have a great evening. We will talk to you guys soon. Hey, enjoy the rest of the game. Have a great night. We'll see you.